Hey everybody, so I thought I'd do a quick video to explain extrapolation and interpolation using your graph, which a lot of you are having trouble with as I read through the discussions. So I've made up a very simple graph. I'm looking at student performance, so the percent you get in the course versus how many classes you missed. And so I've plotted the data already. You guys are doing a great job plotting your data. I don't feel that that's a problem. Some of you are forgetting to label your axes, and that makes it difficult for me to know what you're using as a scale. And so it's difficult to mark if I don't know exactly what the axis is for. But here we go. So the first thing you're going to do is draw a line of best fit. You really need a ruler to do that. So you take a look at the data and you kind of get an idea of the trend. So you take your ruler and you want it to kind of represent all spots as best you can. So it might take some fiddling around. Person next to you might have a different line of best fit than you because they have a different idea about what it represents. So there is some wiggle room with what the line of best fit should be. So I'm going to draw my line of best fit and I'll show you what I got. So there's the line of best fit I got. So that represents the data. So the trend is either going to be a positive or a negative. And because this starts high and as it goes to the right, it goes low, we know that the trend is negative. So that there is a relationship between how many classes you miss and your percentage. But what that tells us is the more classes you miss, the lower your mark will be. That's actually pretty true. So when you're doing interpolation and extrapolation, the question is asking you for data answers about information you haven't been given, but we don't want you to use the table to answer it. We want you to use the graph to answer it. So I had some data there. So let's say the question was, if you miss 1.5 classes, what's that going to do to your mark? So what I do is I go on my graph, I find 1.5, which is right here, and then I'm going to draw a line up to the line of best fit. So I draw the line like that to the line of best fit. Then I go from that point over to my y-axis. And when I do that, the mark is 80%. So by interpolating, that's information from within the data that you've been given, I've discovered that 1.5 classes missed, you'll probably get an 80%. That's not really true. This is just a simple graph I've made. Extrapolating is extending the line of best fit to guess or estimate what the possible answer will be when the information's outside the data point. So if I said to you, how many classes would you have to miss to get a 30% in the course? That's beyond any data we have. But I go to 30%, which is on the y-axis. I do a line across to the line of best fit. There we go. And then I come down to the x-axis to see where it intercepts. So in this case, it's slightly more than 5 classes. So my answer would be, if I was expecting a 20% in the course, I would be missing just over 5 classes. That's extrapolating. This is interpolating. But in both cases, I've used the graph to answer the question, and I can see that because of those lines. So for that discussion item that you've been having trouble with, that's what I'm looking for. Feel free to go back and do it again, resubmit. I'd be happy to do a new assessment.